Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be discussing, do squats work your hamstrings? I know this is a very hot topic online and it is very up for debate because I was just doing a leg day today myself and I was on the hack squat. And the idea popped in my head, and I know a lot of other people are talking about it. Some people say it does, some people say it doesn't. So we're going to be going over that today, and I'm going to be telling you what I think and what the science says. Okay, but what does the science say to all this? Because the science and the study probably knows best, right? Well, the science says that no, squats don't really work your hamstrings too well because when you go in the squat position like this, your hamstrings are lengthening here but shortening here. And when you come up, they're lengthening down here but shortening up here. So you never really get a full stretch on the hamstrings because they're lengthening and shortening at either the knee joint or the hip joint. So according to science, doesn't work hamstrings very well. But what about me? Do I feel my hamstrings when I do squats? Well, no. I actually was at the gym earlier today and I actually set a PR on the hack squat machine. It will be right up there. And no, I don't really feel my hamstrings at all when I'm doing squats. It's mainly in the quads and glutes. Like, I never get a great hamstring pump. So for me, it looks like the science is right? But that's just me. I know there are a host of other people where when they're doing squats, they feel it in their hamstrings. For example, IFBB pro Greg Doucette, he squats all the time and he says he rarely does exercise for his hamstrings, but look how good his hamstrings look freaking amazing. Yes, he does credit some of his hamstring growth to great genetics, but he also says when he does squats, that's the only muscle the next day that is sore, it is his hamstrings. So clearly, depending on your anatomy or how, the muscles work together, some people are going to feel their hamstrings on squats and some are not. For me, I don't feel them on squats, so I do many other hamstring exercises. A great one is the RDL. The only problem with the RDL is only two muscles in the hamstring cross the hip joint. One of them only crosses the knee joint. So if you're doing an RDL, the RDL is you're adjusting your hips so that one head of the hamstring isn't really going to be getting stretched. Whereas if you do any kind of leg curl, because all three heads cross the knee joint, any kind of leg curl is going to work your hamstrings really well. It's going to get all of them stretched and contracted awesomely. And there are like 3 leg curls I see at the gym like most often. That's the standing, the lying, and the seated. And you're probably wondering which one is the best. Well, for me, seated hamstring curls are definitely the best. You have it locked in place. I feel like it's easier to get a good mind muscle connection, and it's a little bit more, it's not as ego driven. Like, I feel like on the lying hamstring curl, a lot more people ego lift on it, and it has the benefit of stretching your hamstrings right at the start of the movement. So when you're seated and your legs are up, your hamstrings are pre-stretched, whereas if you're lying or standing upright like this, the hamstrings, they're not really stretched that much. So studies have shown that the seated leg curl can produce way more muscle growth than the lying or the standing. Now, if you only have one of those, like for example, I only have a lying hamstring curl at home, I still do think that is a viable option. But if you go to a gym, I definitely would recommend the seated hamstring curl, because research shows when the muscle is stretched, that is where the hypertrophy and the most muscle growth goes, and the seated hamstring curl simply stretches the muscle more. So if you do feel your hamstrings working on squats and you have great hamstring development, then honestly, keep doing it. You probably don't really need to do that many hamstring isolation exercises. But for someone like me, who really doesn't feel their hamstrings working on squats at all, I think it would be very smart to do those isolation exercises, because if you don't feel them, they're probably not getting enough volume, because they still are, I think, regardless, because they will work on squats. It's just some people, they contract and they feel it more. For me, don't feel it really that much at all. I don't really get a great pump from it, so it's important for me to isolate them. But that is going to have to wrap up this video, guys. If you guys have enjoyed it, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you're new here, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.